Hey guys, my name is Kaylee and welcome back to my channel, Dog-Eared Paige. Today, it is the last day of August. I bought a lot of books in August. I said I wasn't going to, and then there were tons of sales, and I swear to God I did not spend a ton of money on all of these books that I bought. I took advantage of the Barnes & Noble sale, a huge sale on Book Outlet, and a book depository purchase, and I came away with 16 books with the promise to myself that no more books till Christmas aside from the pre-order of Laini Taylor's Muse of Nightmares, because that's already been placed, no ifs, ands, or buts. But literally this will be the last haul you see till Christmas. Anyway, I'm dying in the heat. The sun sets on this side of me where the window is. I'm hot. I'm gonna get through this. How I'm gonna do this is, I should probably explain that I like to buy books once I know that I've loved them, rather than take a chance and not love them. So some of these books I've read, I'd say about half and half. Read and loved, to new and assume I'll love them. So it's also a recommendations video and a predicted 5-star video. Let's just call it that as well. You're getting 3 for the price of 1. I should have mentioned too that it doesn't mean it's a 5-star read, it just means that it was impactful. So it's probably at minimum a 4-star read if I bought it and I'd read it before. Likely it's 5-star. I'll try and remember as I go. You get what you came here for. So first and foremost, you all know, because I've mentioned it before, and if you're not new here, you know that To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee is one of my ultimate favorite books ever written, and the only copy I've ever had of it is like the one that they sell to schools to make kids read, so it's crappy. I'd get it, but I just don't feel like it. So I bought a cover that I liked for a reread that I'll do eventually, hopefully, because I really love this cover. To Kill a Mockingbird. It's a vintage cover apparently. It's got this cool like insert too. For those of you that don't know, my baby, my third and final child, we named him Finch after the Finch family. In To Kill a Mockingbird, we call him Finn, but that aside, it means a lot. And so to have birds on the cover, this is my new copy. That's no more I can say about that. I'm like droning on for no reason. To Kill a Mockingbird. Now the next 2 books are books from an author that I really, really love, and I don't think people talk much about on BookTube. I'm sure a lot of people have read him because he's been around for a while, and that is Christopher Moore. I've read basically all of the books that he's put out except his newest one, as well as I didn't really like Fluke, so I didn't finish it. But that's about it. I've literally read everything else. My favorite series of his was Dirty Job. It was the first book I read by Christopher Moore a few years ago, and if you like comedic stories that are sort of contemporary but also, what would I call it? I don't want to say it's fantasy because it's more horror genre. We'll call it contemporary comedic horror. He'd probably be like rolling his eyes if he heard this. But anyway, Secondhand Souls is the sequel to A Dirty Job. I've read them. I'll eventually get A Dirty Job, but this was like $2. So I had to get it because I don't own any of his books, and I'd probably call him one of my favorite writers. So alongside that, I got Bloodsucking Fiends, which is also a series. I believe there's 3 total. His books are just hilarious, and if you've never read him before, but it's like something you've considered, or you just need something like light and fast and fun, Christopher Moore is your guy. If you want any recommendations based on like what kind of horror you're into, because Bloodsucking Fiends is clearly about vampires, this one's more about a reaper gone wrong. He kind of runs the gamut. So ask and you shall receive. I'll give you a recommendation if I can. Next, I've talked about this book slash series slash authored quite a bit on this channel, but I haven't owned any of his work, so when I saw that Scythe was up for sale, I picked it up. It's not new to BookTube. Lots of people read Scythe, lots of people read Thunderhead, the sequel. Because I got Scythe in paperback, I'll wait for Thunderhead to go into paperback. I love the cover. I loved the book. Thunderhead was also just as good, if not better. I wanted to own it, so now I own it. Next is The Smell of Other People's Houses by Bonnie Sue Hitchcock. At the end of 2017, I compiled a list of my favorite books that I read, and this was definitely on it. It's a short read, it's contemporary, it's a little heartbreaking. I don't have much more to say about it than like, it's really, really good. Part of my collection now. Also, I've talked about this author a lot on my channel, and that is Jeff Sentner. The Serpent King is probably one of my favorite YA contemporaries that I've ever read. Hands down, solidified Jeff as one of the top writers for me of current time. I can't wait for his release next year. I'm jealous of all the people who have ARCs already. Clearly I'm not at that point in my life where I can request ARCs. Maybe I can. I haven't tried, but The Serpent King is well worth a reread, and it's one of the reasons I wanted to get it, and it's one of the reasons I went to Book Outlet to see if they had a copy, and it became a pitfall of many books later. Now I own it. The next book, if you watched any of my Booktubeathon vlogs, you'll know that I spent most of the time mispronouncing the title of this book. I have since figured it out. Thank you, Mr. Common Spence, for that, and everybody else I've seen thereafter talk about it. This book blew me away. It was so good, and I haven't stopped thinking about it, which is one of the reasons I had to own it. Also, the cover is beautiful, and that is Circe by Madeline Miller. I mean, yeah, it's foil, it's goldish, it's fall colored. I mean, what is there not to love? If you haven't read it, heard of it, it's about Circe, which is, you know, we're talking about mythology here, and it's like, I call her a lesser known character within the mythology. Mythos, I believe, is the word I'm looking for here. And it's a story from her perspective that really takes on a different way of telling her story. And I really liked it, and it really struck me. And the writing is beautiful, so if you like lyrical, poetic writing where atmosphere takes just as much precedence as character, Circe. Also, I just finished this book, but, well, recently, this month, and I loved it so much, and that is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I believe I gave it a 4-star because it was kind of predictable. I expect that a little bit from Marissa Meyer, and that's not necessarily a bad thing if you can do it the right way. Like, as I mentioned before, I didn't really care for Heartless, but the Lunar Chronicles, also predictable, but also close to my heart. Renegades was more imaginative, but also slightly predictable. But I really, really liked it. You really start to care about the characters in this, about two sides of the coin in a dystopian, sci-fi, futuristic thing where people have superpowers, and there are the renegades who are like the police with superpowers, and then I'm doing a really bad job here, and then the anarchists, who are the people with superpowers who kind of want to bring down the renegades. Without giving away the story, that's what I'll give you. And last but not least, for the books that I purchased that I already have read, I'm slowly working on the collection of this. I really only have the very first novel left, which is my least favorite of the series. Some of you may already know where I'm headed with that, which is Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. I own A Court of Mist and Fury, I own A Court of Frost and Starlight. The last on my list and least priority is A Court of Thorns and Roses, Where It All Begins. Not my favorite. I won't go into it. Everyone knows Sarah J. Maas. One book left before she carries on with the series, I suppose. Now we're moving on to the section of books where I haven't read them, or I've read part of them and wanted to own them. We're gonna get into it. I don't really have a whole lot of descriptors for them because some of them are just things I've bought off recommendation. So let's do it. First and foremost, I finally bit the bullet and bought Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I got the UK edition cover. It's gorgeous. I thought that I was gonna get the one that we got in the States, but with a different text, but this came and it works. I will finally get to read it before Muse of Nightmare comes out. And that's all I ask for. It'll be done in September, I'm gonna say. After Contemporary-a-thon, this will be a priority, for sure. Yeah, I just dropped the rest of the books. On that note, Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I got this one because it's getting a lot of hype right now on Twitter. There's a couple read-alongs I know about that have either just completed or are just starting of this series. I'm not going to partake in any of them. I'm already like hella booked in my reading. Yeah. I know very little, except that it's brutal and heartbreaking, and I love the Illuminae files. I don't think that I'll give this anything lower than a 4-star. So predicted 4+ star. I can't wait to get into it. Not a priority, but I'd like to do it soon. Also, because I finally started a Darker Shade of Magic trilogy and have since fallen in love with V.E. Schwab, I wanted to branch out and see what her other stuff is about. I'm probably going to finish the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy first before I do anything else, but I picked up This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. This and A Dark Duet, I believe, are a duology. Yes, it's literally written back here. She wrote on her Instagram and her Twitter that if you liked this, this, and this, then you'd like this series of hers. And I don't remember which one this was. I think it's like superheroes maybe, which I'm into. My kid's into it. My husband's into. I've become a superhero person thanks to them. I'm hoping I'll like this. Next, I've got This Adventure Ends by Emma Mills. I do know that it's one of Julie's favorites from Pages and Pens. I know very little about it. I know it's a contemporary. I'm sure if Julie likes it, it's very heartbreaking and I will probably cry in it. I got it, hoping to put it into my Contemporary-a-thon TBR. You'll see my TBR soon, but this should make an appearance in it. It's about a girl named Sloane who moves from, I believe, New York City to Florida, and kind of just the friends she makes and the things she learns in her move. I know nothing more than that. Going in kind of blind. Loving the cover. Another buy based just solely on people talking about how good it is, and because I also wanted to read something adult contemporary, and I don't even know if this is contemporary. Nope, it's dystopian, but that's okay because I do believe that it's not YA, and I kind of want to branch out from YA. Every once in a while I get, you know, the itch to read something more my age, so I got Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I've heard really good things. I know Jess from Jess Reads Books really likes this, if I'm not mistaken. Gosh, I watch so much BookTube, I can't remember who does what, but I'm pretty confident that she really, really raved about this, and I feel like we've got very similar tastes, so when I saw this up for pretty cheap, I got it. Another book I got for Contemporary-a-thon, and also because Allie from Hardback Hoarder really, really, really likes this book, I figured I'd check it out. We'll see if I get to it, because when I got it, I actually got it from the library and I opened it, like I put it on hold, and man, it's long and the text is tiny, and that's If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I don't know if I can get, I don't think I could read this in a week, let alone alongside other books. We'll see. It's like about a guy that gets out of prison, I think, and he puts on like a play, like a Shakespearean play, and I think something bad happens in it. And then him and all the other cast members have to prove their innocence, I guess. So it's kind of like a thriller. And last but not least, a book I've really wanted, and I'm afraid to make the commitment because it's quite large, but Barnes & Noble had their 50% off sale, which is where I got Circe, because mint condition, like hardcover, whatever. I also got The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I've heard nothing but good things about it. It's hefty. It's a fantasy. I know very little about it outside of that. She's a peasant, she's a student, she's a soldier, she's a goddess. I'm sure I'm gonna love it. The cover's beautiful. I picked it up for 50% off. I hope you guys picked up some stuff for 50% off at Barnes & Noble. If you've read any of these books before, the ones that I haven't read yet that I hauled, let me know what I should prioritize over others. If you've read any of the ones that I have read and you want to talk about them, let's do it. If you want any recommendations for Christopher Moore books, let me know. I'm your girl. I'll help you out there. Otherwise, I think that's it for me haul-wise until Christmas. Of course, I've got Muse of Nightmares coming, but I'll probably just open that on my Instagram, which you'll find below with my Goodreads and my Twitter. Links in the description. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you're new here. If you took advantage of Barnes & Noble's 50% off, I'm interested in what you bought. If you bought any of the ones I bought, then cool, you've got great taste. Otherwise, guys, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day. It is almost fall. Let's rejoice. It's so hot in this room. Bye.